IVM.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys.
Welcome. And
we are your four co-hosts. Some episodes we introduce ourselves, some episodes we don't. Sometimes we assume that we have new listeners. Sometimes it's the whole gang.
Yeah. So just anyway. As even though we are we have literally grown through this episode, through this podcast, and evidence of that is once again it is the birthday of one of our co-hosts, and that is Chuck. Happy birthday, Chuck.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
So, when you say once again, did we record on somebody else's birthday before? I don't remember this.
I'm just saying that we've now, our podcast is definitely old enough to have birthday cycles in it. I don't know if you've ever.
So we like. So
you know when the Simblified birthday is?
When was that?
Or is it an anniversary? Oh, it was July 15, 2015.
Wow.
Okay, so happy birthday to Simblified.
Yeah. 2015. We started this 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Chuck.
This is older than my daughter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I come to think of it. Like, I didn't meet my wife when we started Simblified.
Wow. So, okay, here we are feeling nostalgic about.
This is one other episode that we need to do.
Yeah. But so so on this auspicious August occasion of Chuck's birthday, we are going to talk and simplify birthdays. So just a little bit. So it's not so much as simplify Chuck as such. We're not simplifying Chuck's birthday. We are just simplifying birthdays in general, about what goes on and why they happen. And why this monstrosity is foisted on people every year.
I want to start with the profundity, though.
Excellent! Please, Chuck, go ahead. It is your day.
It's birthday-related profundity. Count your age by friends, not years.
Wow!
I will leave this hanging now over here.
So, like, if you have fewer friends, you're younger.
Oh yeah, logical.
And does that also then lend itself to?
I know some 70-year-old people who are absolute toddlers actually in my family.
Yeah,
but actually, if you what's Srikeit?
Does that also lend itself to like the restrictions that are age related? So, for example, if you have fewer friends, you are not allowed to like drive and do all of that stuff. You at least need to have 18 friends. Otherwise, you're not allowed to do all those things.
But I actually, like, as with most things in life, I think if you plot this on a graph, you will get sort of like a bell curve. Because when you start off your life, you have few friends, and then you have this age when you like have lots of friends. Do you all go through that life? Oh, I want like thousands and thousands of friends on my social network of choice. And then we start trimming the herd and all that. I think I realized I grew up when I hid birthday from Facebook. Like there's a point when, okay, enough, like all this, like
correct.
People who, to me, birthday is a great time to unsubscribe from a lot of emails.
So here's, before we pitch into it, one technical question is, why is a birthday commemoration of the time you popped out? Why is it not the commemoration
of the conception? Because technically that would become
Hey, actually that leads me to a nice joke back in the day. So how many right to lifers does it need to change a light bulb? 2. 1 to change the light bulb, to screw in the light bulb, and the second to say light began when the screwing started.
Wow.
Amazing. So as such, to give to start as such, let's give the full Christian definition of a birthday. A birthday is an anniversary of a birth of a person, or figuratively of an institution, just as simply as that. And let's, before we get to the frivolity of what birthdays represent, what is, from a legal standpoint, what are birthdays useful for? Birthdays are useful for determining all those different kinds of legal rights and responsibility milestones that people can accomplish. So in different societies at different ages, birthday makes you eligible to of course, starting from consent to sexual intercourse, to marry with parental consent, to marry without parental consent, to vote, to run for elected office, to leave full-time education, to be subject to military conscription, to legally purchase or consume alcohol and tobacco products, to purchase lottery tickets, and to obtain driver's licenses. At an older age, it's also ability to run for office and to hold elected office at different points. So that's the oldest ages, because almost like to become prime minister and to become president at some places, it's almost the age of 35 in some cases. So that's the oldest ages that you need to reach before you can do that.
And then retirement after that, I'm guessing, or being eligible for senior citizen benefits and all that.
Yeah, so those are like almost end of life benefits, but this is like we were talking about the ages that are required to kind of get access to certain things. So those are the legal uses in some way. And now in birthday, when you come to the celebration aspect, so legally your the only other place where there is some amount of legal quibble is people who are born on the 29th of February. Right? They are called Leaplings, and those guys, by natural time, what they do is like they celebrate their birthdays on the next day, which is the 1st of March. But actually, legally, depending on different time zones and depending on the time of day they were born, so in a lot of places, and the rule for India has not been written really down, but in certain other places like in the US, if someone's born on the first half of the 29th of February, their official legal birthday is on the 28th. And if they're born on the second half, then their official legal birthday is the 1st of March. So that's how sometimes it's taken. And again, US being a federal system, it differs from place to place. So basically, if you're born on the 29th of February, be prepared to go through some legal hell about trying to define where your birthday is, when your birthday is as such. And so, there are also before we even
especially like what happens if the hospital is between two states?
Exactly.
In fact, Kansas City, Missouri, like. You're born like 11:59 there, like what? Oh man, like the state intersection line is exactly like where the maternity was.
So in which case you better hope that, and this is the other aspect of it, where you better hope you are probably born an orphan, because a lot of orphans, especially people who are born without their date of birth being very clear, or they have been or they are born as orphans, purely, and it's a little sad and morbid in some ways, where their birthdays are usually clumped together on a single date. So the orphanages can celebrate birthdays together and save on costs.
Wow.
So it's so usually they're clumped together either on the 1st of January or on Christmas, so that the Christmas celebrations are also clumped together.
So all costs get some. Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people born on the 25th of, so it's a bit of a marker where people who are born on Christmas, it's quite likely they were orphans and they don't really know their real birthdays.
Wow,
so it is a bit sad. But please don't go around asking people who are born on Christmas whether they're orphans. Simplified is not recommending this. And similarly, but if you look at it from a more cultural, religious point of view, certain birthdays are commemorated in different ways. So first, let's start with India. In India, across at least Hindu cultures, the first birthday is when the mundan happens, or the shaving of the child's head, which actually originates from the fact that the hair that you are born with is linked to your past life. So when you shave the hair,
I didn't know that.
So this is some initial literature. I'm sure there is more detailed argument about this. And if I was to talk to my mother, she will give me another sermon about why this is important. But apparently it's when you shave that head, you're severing your links to all your past life, and you're ready to start a new life and stuff like that. So that's where the mundan comes into play at the first birthday. The 12th or the 13th birthday, as as quite a few of us might here relate to, is what a lot of Brahmins undertake is called an Upanayanam, or where basically a lot of male kids around their 12th and 13th birthday get their thread ceremony done, which is the Upanayanam.
Standard age for rite of passage.
Rite of passage, yeah. So
Like-
it is variable. So it starts from 8 to...
Correct. Like Catholics have Holy Communion.
So is there an age for Holy Communion?
Yeah,
or not
roughly
necessarily?
around like 4th or 5th standard. I think it'd be around between 8 to 12, like you said. Roughly.
Exactly. Yeah. So similarly, in this thing, there's the thread ceremony that entirely happens because it almost represents that the child is transitioning into the age of adulthood, and basically it represents their ability to start learning. Now they've entered the learning phase of life. So that's what the thing represents. And also on the other end of the spectrum, the other thing from a Hindu point of view, first I'm just covering the Indian Hindu rituals in India, is the 60th birthday, which is often called the Shashti Purti, or it's the completion of your entire cycles of your life, which I found a little morbid because like my father had a similar thing saying that you have completed the cycles of life. So what, you should die now. So it's kind of like a little morbid, but yeah, that's also a celebration that the person has had the opportunity to get to that point where they are able to.
No, till very recently, Indian life expectancy was some mid-30s or mid-40s or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so reaching 60 was a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So that becomes another milestone from an Indian point of view. Of course, in when you step out of India, one of the key ceremonies, first, like Tony said, was the Holy Communion for those people who are reaching a certain age of 8 to 12 or so. In Spanish Christian communities, especially with women, there is a ceremony called the Quinceanera, which is the 15th birthday of a girl, where she's said to be stepping into womanhood at that point of time. Of course, in traditional English countries, the Sweet 16 is a similar concept of a celebration. So and of course in Japan, although in Japan it's much later. So the coming of age ceremony is at 20. So only at 20 are they said to be coming of age in some way. And whereas in Korea, the big celebration is actually not even by the year, but it's called Baek-il, which is feast for the 100th day. So it's not even the first birthday, but it's the 100th day since birth when the child is celebrated in some way or the other. And that's commemorated as the child's first birthday. So it's the 100th day. And also with Jewish kids, the other with Jewish boys, again, the 12th, 13th birthday celebration is called the Bat Mitzvah. And the Bat Mitzvah is, so also the Jewish girls also have it. And also, the most interesting one, which I found, which also actually exists in Indian culture, is that in Ghana, on the birthday, there is no ceremony, but the children wake up to a special treat called Oto, which is a patty made from mashed sweet potato and eggs fried in palm oil. So you eat that and you carry on with your day. So bahut ho gaya, ye sab nahi chahiye aage. So so that's one some of the ways the birthdays are celebrated. But let's look at some of the rituals that we take for granted when it comes to birthday celebrations as such, right? So the one very interesting one that I found was about the overall celebration itself, right? So the birthday celebration actually began with first is the first level of commemoration of birthday celebration. So mainstream birthday celebrations for commoners only began when the calendar was around. So commoners never celebrated birthdays till the late Roman Empire. All right. Wow. So commoners, there was no concept of a birthday. But the first commemoration of any kind of birthday was because whenever people were crowned pharaohs, they basically got ascended to be gods, right? So the date of ascendancy to becoming a pharaoh was commemorated as the person's birthday. So that is the first historically known celebration of a birthday in any way. And over a period of time, still late, till the Roman Empire, where calendars were invented, were when commoners were allowed to celebrate their birthdays in some way. But even so, that was just a recognition of it. Maybe there was no celebration of calling people together. But as Christianity grew along with it, there was the celebration of actually people coming together and cheering and making a ruckus is actually not just a party that just organically happened, but there is a belief in Christian mythology that on someone's birthday, people actually so spirits would actually turn up to kind of claim this person, right? So they needed to be surrounded by people they care for, and the noise made is to drive away the spirits from the person whose birthday it is.
So how does this change in the metaverse, for example? you are still surrounded by people, but like if we were to do this as assuming that the Zoom call is my birthday party, suppose spirits were coming, would they be scared away? Or
no, I think this would be.
They have to first get internet connectivity.
They have to get internet
and for a lot of people, the best way to get rid of the spirits is to consume them. So that also happens.
Little too early in the day for that, Naren, but I shall take care of that.
But Srikeit, do you know why they blow out candles?
Yes, so that's also quite interesting because the thing about a candle as such, and just to complete the metaverse thing before I get to the candles, is it very well maybe where friends and relatives get together and run a spyware check on your entire on your online presence, so all the negative spirits go away. But coming to the candles thing, it's actually a Greek tradition. So the Greek tradition was, the tradition of a cake itself was there from before, where they used to like put these bunch of flour and dough and like some sweet inside it so that it became something good for people to have. The candles, to light the candles was, so the cake actually represented Artemis, right? Who was the goddess of fertility and goodness and all that stuff. And Artemis was also the goddess of the moon. So what they did was the cake was supposed to represent the moon, and the candles stuck on it were actually to represent the glow of the moon.
Wow. Okay.
So you actually put the different candles as the glow of the moon. This was the tradition that started, but blowing out the candles and celebrating that was actually a corruption which happened. So over the years, it kept the putting the candles was there, but in about 18th century, I think 16th century or 18th century Germany, the concept of a kid's birthday party was what the modern concept of a kid's birthday party was what took precedence, because it was called the Kinderfest. So the Kinderfest was introduced where children were thrown big parties for their birthdays, where this cake was put, and also in the Kinderfest was the concept of putting the number of candles corresponding to the age of the child that came in, and blowing out the candles also came in. And also along with this was the concept of like everyone standing. So there is also the symbolism of the party hats that came in. So the party hats are actually representative of commoners when they were allowed to have birthdays. Because birthdays were so exclusive of royalty, when commoners were allowed to have birthdays, it was that they became royalty that day.
Oh, wow.
And royalty were the only ones who were allowed to wear the conical hats. So the conical party hats are actually representative of I am royalty for the day.
Wow.
So that's where the conical party hats also
That's amazing. I had no idea.
So they also started taking preference. What's really interesting though is the also along with the part of the celebrations, and again going to the Spanish part of celebrations, is on a birthday a lot of people have the pinata, right? Breaking of the pinata. So for the reference of listeners who may not be familiar with it, a pinata is actually it takes the form of an animal or a horse or a shape of some sort. It's made of paper mache, and a whole bunch of kids, basically the birthday person whose birthday it is, they are blindfolded and they try and find and beat the pinata, which is often stuffed with candy, right? But the origin of it, and it seems like a funny ritual, but the origin of it is quite sinister
Yeah.
that apparently the original Pinata is a 7-pointed star, right? And the the original Pinata was a 7-pointed star, which represented the 7 deadly sins.
Okay.
Right.
Oh.
So the 7 deadly sins and the candy filled inside the in the Pinata was a representation of evil and the temptations of evil. Right.
Oh.
And so what the person with the stick is blindfolded to represent faith, right? The turning, singing, shouting is to represent the disorientation that temptation creates.
Wow.
And finally, they are supposed to beat the temptation and like kind of win over the temptation with like their faith in some way.
Wow.
So that's what the original thing is. And now it's just become like this completely just a fun exercise that people do on their birthdays in some way or the other.
So what is the more meaningful message behind just getting
it's a faith-saving exercise. Yeah.
No, like what's the more deeper philosophical meaning behind just getting pissed drunk with your friends?
Yeah.
Like surely there must be some meaning to that
I
as
think
well.
the best meaning that we've explored so far is Naren's definition of consuming the spirit so they don't consume
Spirit, yeah. No, that's fair. Did you know apparently that August is actually the most popular book?
And then we can come back to discuss the rest.
Yes, we can.
Yes, so let's take a quick break and we will be back with more about birthdays with the birthday boy Chuck.
$100. That's all it takes to begin your journey with Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, really. With CoinSwitch, you can start investing in over 100 cryptocurrencies with just 100 rupees. On top of that, there are zero charges for deposits and withdrawals, so you can trade, buy, sell, however and whenever you want. All of this, plus their extremely intuitive interface, makes CoinSwitch the perfect app for beginners in the crypto space. But don't take my word for it. Just download CoinSwitch for free and try it out for yourself. If you'd like more information on cryptocurrencies, tune into A Show About Crypto with me, Rohan Joshi, my new adventure on IVM Podcasts. CoinSwitch, kuch to badlega.
So welcome back. We took a real break for once.
Yeah, actually. I know. I was just about to say, this is the first break between an episode that we have actually not just... Usually our breaks are like, and now Vinay will ping and say, guys, you've been blabbering on for too long, please take a break. Then we'll awkwardly say, and now we're going to take a break. Welcome back to Simblified. So this time we actually took a break. Yeah. One of us went to the loo. Another one was lusting after Ferrero Rocher because Srikeit said Kinderfest. And from there, I went to Kinder. Big Basket unfortunately does not deliver today. And one of us went for a parent-teacher meeting. So it's quite an eventful break.
Yeah, quite an eventful break. And coming back, actually, the biggest part of birthday celebrations, and I wanted to give some time to this because it's fascinating, the evolution is the birthday song itself. The Happy Birthday to You song. So there's not just a cool history, but an incredible present. The birthday song had like some controversy in the recent past as well, which I wanted to just cover.
Did you say like not just history, but present for the birthday?
Okay. Oh, wow.
Wow.
So the song itself was... The birthday song itself was initially written as a song to be sung. It was written as a song called Good Morning to All, which was a song written by kindergarten teachers for kids to start singing as the first thing during the day. And the tune was developed that way. And then they put some lyrics, which were the Happy Birthday to You song lyrics to that song, which then got customized accordingly. Now, here is where it becomes really interesting. So the song like developed from there, a whole bunch of kids picked it up. But the song then later got registered by the Sami company, who registered a copyright for it in 1935.
Okay.
Crediting the authors, and they didn't credit the original authors, which were Patty Hill and Mildred, who were two sisters. And they didn't credit them, but they credited the authors who penned the lyrics to the tune, which were Preston Ware Oram and Mrs. R.R. Foreman. And so they credited them the lyrics. And the controversy really took flight when Warner or Chappell Music purchased the company for about 25 million. and they decided to start enforcing the copyright.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
So we're breaking the law
value
every
of the,
time?
the value of the song was around 5 million, and they claimed that the United States copyright would not expire till 2030 because it was registered back then.
Amazing.
And the unauthorized public performances of the song are illegal unless royalties are paid.
Incredible.
Wow.
This is as recent as in February 2010, the royalty for a single use was $700.
Whoa.
Singing Happy Birthday on air. And this is not just like in any way like non-enforceable. So in fact, till very recently, there was a song where Happy Birthday to You was Warner collected in 2008. Warner collected US $5,000 per day, which is 2 million per year in royalties for the song, right? Claimed copyright for every use in film, television, radio, and anywhere else open to the public, and for anywhere where a substantial number of those in attendance were not family or friends of the performer. So you could rest assured that you could sing Happy Birthday to You to your kid in your own house, but any kind of public performance was where Warner Chappell would claim royalties for the song.
Wow.
So does that mean, so sometimes Metallica will find out that it's somebody's birthday and then James will randomly start singing.
Yeah.
So that means he's violating.
That would have been. So this is where it was. Till 2013, sorry, in 2015 was when this was overruled. So they in 2015, federal judge George H. King ruled that Warner Chappell's copyright claim over the lyrics were invalid. The 1935 claim that Warner Chappell had was only to a specific piano arrangement of the song, not the lyrics or melody. And the court that held that in question that, of whether the 1922 or 1927 publications were authorized, therefore placing the song in public domain.
Amazing.
Right? And so Warner Chappell, of course, challenged it in some way or the other. And here is where, so in fact, before the lawsuit, so there were multiple notable examples where certain filmmakers, 1994 documentary Hoop Dreams, filmmakers paid a $5,000 royalty to those guys, and multiple different public performances were done, and everyone had paid. And because this was proved the copyright was proved to have not gone out of them, but to never have existed. Warner Chappell at the end in February 2016 agreed to pay a settlement of $14 million to those who had licensed the song, and therefore returned the money for a lot of the royalties that they collected.
Wow.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Wow.
And so this is actually it's also referenced in one of my favorite shows. It's by Aaron Sorkin, an older show in 1998 called television show called Sports Night, which is by Aaron Sorkin. And he actually there is an episode in which where the show is about a sports broadcast, which is an ESPN type sports broadcast. And so there is a segment in there where the protagonist actually sings Happy Birthday to his co-host on air, and the network is forced to pay royalties. And so because to troll the network further, he sings Happy Birthday over the entire month. And the network is like trying to tell him that he sings something else, don't sing Happy Birthday, otherwise you'll have to keep paying royalties all the time. So that's where this particular thing was there. So till 2016, Happy Birthday was actually a copyrighted song. Only now it exists in public domain. So it's in fact, if you look at the copyright for this expired only in February 2016, only maybe 3 or 4 months before Simblified began.
Wow.
So
Simblified began in 2015, by the way. But
2015. So yeah, so when we opened, had your first episode included any time. So for your first birthday, Chuck, if Naren had decided to sing Happy Birthday to you, you very well may have been sued by Warner Chappell Music.
This also means nothing stops us from singing Happy Birthday to Chuck right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it is truly in public
Happy
domain.
birthday.
The thing is, nothing stops us from doing it except for common sense and propriety.
Yeah. I mean, someone else took a loo break, but Chuck looks flushed right now. So we'll.
So there were a whole bunch of so like, for example, a bunch of before this the ruling came, there were actually documentaries and campaigns to liberate the people's song. and like liberate Happy Birthday from copyright and to kind of get it out there. So that was actually a part of the whole thing. So in fact, it's part of a larger movement to liberate a lot of popular songs like We Shall Overcome is still under laws, is under copyright.
Oh, wow.
Land for the US is still
quite
under
ironic.
copyright.
Yeah.
So this is where a lot of popular songs are still held under copyright and need to be liberated from copyright.
Yeah.
Somebody should write We Shall Overcome Copyright.
Correct, yeah. It's like if Inkulab Sindabad were copyrighted and stuff.
Yeah, so that's where it's I mean, imagine the public performances. Sometimes the copyright wasn't enforced, but the most famous rendition of Happy Birthday, which is in the Western world, I could say, is Marilyn Monroe's Happy Birthday to John F. Kennedy, where she was singing it like very seductively, and it was obviously broadcast.
My
You
favorite.
mean Mallika Sherawat?
That is awesomest one. Yeah. That has to be. We should put a link to that in the description to this podcast.
But
it is the most epic Happy Birthday ever. Yeah.
2 episodes ago, we referred to how China copies everything from the US. In India, we copy everything from the US culturally very badly.
So as I was reading this, there's also a lot more hilarious references in TV. Like, for example, in Star Trek, they wanted to try and sing Happy Birthday in Klingon before when it was in copyright, and they actually removed it because that was even because the music and the tune was also copyrighted. So even if it was being sung in Klingon, they couldn't include it. So they actually removed it from the DVD set from Star Trek, the Happy Birthday rendition in Klingon. And Futurama, which is a popular TV show for a lot of people, where they actually had they poked fun at the song and its copyright by making their own version of Happy Birthday. And singing it over in their own way, because they said, and referencing the fact that they can't sing the original Happy Birthday because it's copyrighted. So
to think of it, I can't remember shows where they sing Happy Birthday, or maybe it's just
it just tuned it out.
Yeah, correct.
Because it's always in the context or something, right? So you're probably remembering that.
And finally, the most iconic one, and I'm very surprised none of us have really encountered this much. But there was Stephen Colbert in March 2014 attempted to sing the song in honor of the 90th anniversary of the birthday song itself. So wanted to sing Happy Birthday for the birthday song itself.
Fair.
But he was prevented from his network from singing the song because it was copyrighted. Really? So Colbert instead premiered his new royalty-free birthday song, which turned out to be a parody of the US national anthem and ends with the stanza, "Warner Music can't sue me and the home of the brave."
Amazing.
So that is a bit about the birthday song. So that's why I wanted to do like a whole segment of the birthday song itself. And so now I just wanted to, which we usually put for the beginning of the show, and I wanted to move the segment to the end of the show, is if you can start by sharing any memorable incident from one's own birthday, or memorable stuff that you used to do for your birthday, to give you guys a little chance and a head start, because I already thought of this. I will start. And so my birthday obviously
is coming soon. Happy birthday, by the way.
Is in a week or so, and I tend to share a birthday with another important event, which is the India's Independence Day. So
it's always a holiday.
Which is why I appreciate my birthday, because it carries a holiday with it. And also I'm very pissed off because this year my birthday is on a Sunday. So, but yeah. So for me, my birthday has always meant firstly a holiday, but also it was great when I was a kid, because it was a holiday where you would still end up meeting your friends, but not studying, because you used to go to school for flag hoisting. So I used to end up actually being able to give my friends chocolates on my birthday itself, because everyone was there.
And everyone would think you're being actually patriotic because you're distributing chocolate. Yeah, wow.
Was an unfortunate byproduct. But the most memorable birthday that I did have was when I was in B school, and as was tradition also, my friends all gathered to get rid of the spirits and decided to come to me directly. And I was quite spirited, continuing into the morning. and was also a bit of an issue considering I was on the student council then. And for the flag hoisting, I was required to stand on the dais with the rest of the people. And with the
flag wasn't the only thing flying high. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was fully still drunk in the morning when I woke up. So my roommate decided to just chuck me into the shower, and they managed to dress me up and kind of walk me to the place. And I just stood there dumbly while the national anthem was being sung. And I was very strictly instructed to just stand still and not say anything. And
I'm imagining you hanging to the flag post for support.
Yeah, so I was
awesome.
effectively there, and I was just trying very hard not to fall down. And what was worse was after that, every single member of the staff wanted to come and wish me happy birthday. Someone also told them it was my birthday. At which point my roommate said he's not feeling very well and carted me off.
Hopefully they understood. No, mine is.
They understood. Yeah. The one good thing about a birthday is you're allowed to do what you want to do.
Yeah. I think actually my story is kind of similar, B school only. So incidentally, so I grew up in the Gulf and August was always summer vacation. So I actually never celebrated birthdays with friends or anything like that. And either that or I'll be at ancestral home in Kerala. So here is where I've traditionally had birthdays. But all that was gleefully made up by a very receptive, friendly batch at my B school, where they, very similar to yours experience, they would collect, they would come to drive away all spirits in all manners, including with cricket bats and rolled up bed sheets and things like that. So I don't know if you had this at where you studied. Not only were you subject to the de-spiriting, but people would find any excuse to whack anybody else as well. Yeah. So roommates would get it.
Roommates would get beaten.
Because I was part of the band at Micah, everybody else got it. And boy, they really let us know how much they appreciated our music. So it was good fun. Yeah. But actually the best birthday I had, I think, was a few years back. Wife and I, we went to Goa. And that was quite nice. I mean, just scootering all around the place. And I think we ended it at a karaoke place where I did that. What's that Metallica cover? Turn the Page. Yeah. So that was good fun. Very, very simple but nice, memorable birthday.
I thought you would say your most memorable birthday is today because we're doing 4 podcast recordings.
Fair enough. I'll use this next time.
Okay, who's
next? Your turn, Naren. You have a. You'll have a long. If you want some more time, is fine because you have more birthdays to sift
as a person with the
growing up
collection of birthdays.
Yeah. So growing up.
When is your birthday? You both of you were sort of together, right?
Yeah. April. Yeah.
Yeah, that legend week where everybody was born. Sidin, Ashok. Yeah. So April when?
21st.
21st.
And growing up, we didn't have like birthday celebration wasn't a thing at all. So we didn't have people coming over or cake or nothing. Absolutely nothing till I even in engineering college, I don't remember celebrating a birthday. It's only after I got married, my wife, reveled in, and she would celebrate birthdays in the nicest way possible, like, with making my favorite food and sort of, so it's very, so overwhelming initially. And then you get used to it. And then, then you say, why do you make this? I don't like that. So, I'm trying to think of...
so for you, it's not one particular birthday, but...
Yeah. But I've done my share of silly. So so I have a close friend. He and I celebrate our birthday. He's born on the 20th of April, and I'm the 21st. So we have our birthday together, and so the spirits are consumed well before my birthday starts. So oftentimes, by the time it's my birthday, I'm how shall I say? I'm as unsteady as a coalition government. I'm just like
economy, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I hang on. Like I stand with outside support to carry that. So then of late, I've all forms of alcohol. So nowadays, so my last birthday was extremely sober. Hopefully that will be so in the future.
Yeah, and just as a corollary, also another aspect of my birthday is like you mentioned, Naren, for me, it's imperative that all spirits be consumed the day before. Because on the day off, there are no spirits available. So it is imperative that because I discovered that the hard way, because a few friends a couple of years ago decided to have a party with me on the day of my birthday. And
tea and biscuits
never happened before, and nobody accounted for that, and we all just sat around the room glumly for a bit and then left.
In the metaverse, you can get drunk, of course.
That is true.
Tony, your turn.
Yeah. So
and you are April 23rd.
Yeah. Before I tell my birthday thing.
Hitler's birthday.
No, dude, please.
Hitler was 22nd, I think.
Somewhere
Tony turned out quite
different.
It's
not. It's Shakespeare's birthday, but before I get to that, here's a fun exercise for you guys, which can also be scarring if you want it to be. But have you worked out what event could have possibly led to your conception? My birthday kind of lines up with when Maradona won the World Cup in '86. I mean the conception date, right?
Wow.
It's probably, I mean, I haven't asked my parents, but it's a fun exercise for you to try out and see what led to your conception, right?
No, there is also some interesting data on this, because August is the month with the most number of birthdays globally as well as in India, and like with 9% of birthdays all coming in August. And it lines up pretty well with November, which is wedding season, and in India. So at least, and as such, it's in the Western parts of the world also, child conception rates increase with the cold. So that also lines up pretty well with why August is a very popular month for childbirth.
But that's actually counterintuitive, right? It'll be harder to take clothes off when it's really cold. So.
No, it's
rather clever of people.
So back to my birthday story. One of the traditions that you would see with a lot of Malayalis is that your name and your father's name are in some way correlated.
Yeah.
Like you'll see like Thomas George and his son will be George Thomas and his son will be Thomas George, etc. So how that works is basically the first son gets your father's name. The father's name, and the second son gets the mother's father's name, right? So that's why I'm Tony, because my granddad was Anthony. So technically my dad is Sebastian. So but interestingly, I was very nearly named Sachin, because sometime in 91 or 92 Malayalam Manorama published that Sachin Tendulkar's birthday was on April 23rd. Actually, it was on 24th, but they made a misprint, right? So my dad was like, let's change your name. And I was like, no, I'm happy with my name, not knowing who Sachin was. My elder brother jumped to it at this point saying, hey, change my name. And that's how his name got changed when he was like around 8 years old to Sachin. And therefore, like my most memorable birthday was actually Sharjah 98, where on 22nd April and 24th April, Sachin played like those 140 and 130 innings, right? Because like you guys, I also never got to wear color dress on the day of birthday and go to school.
Summer vacation.
Summer vacation,
Yeah. So my sister is 24th April, by the way. So,
oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. So that's where it is truly a legendary week of birthdays. And Hitler was 20th of April, by the way.
Yeah, and I think Saddam is 30th of April, or there's some like that date of April Street in Iraq or something like that.
I guess so. Yeah, that April week is quite
dangerous.
I share my birthday. That is also happy birthday to the following people: Dominic Cork, who of course took a hat trick at Lord's, David Duchovny of the X-Files fame, Charlize Theron of many things fame, and Bruce Dickinson, who is the lead vocalist of Iron Maiden, and James Wales, who of course started Wikipedia. So fairly interesting set of things. We have spoken so much about celebrating the day on which you were born, but suppose technology
Just one point on Jimmy Wales that you mentioned. Today is also, funnily enough, the 10-year anniversary of when I met Jimmy Wales in Haifa in Israel.
Yeah, and spoke to him about your shared love of the HTC Desire Z, if I remember correctly. Yes. Tactile fans unite. Just imagine if we reach a point where we know the date on which we are going to die. So then would you celebrate your death date? Like so would you celebrate? Suppose, like, for example, I knew that I was going to die, say, 20 years from, that's too short, 40 years from now. Would I then give more precedence to today, which is 37 years since I was born, or would I celebrate that day, which is say, you have 40 more years to go? Something to think about with all those spirits.
Also, another interesting fact, which when I was doing the research found out was there is also, birthdays are also events where conflicting ideologies can clash, where 25th December is celebrated as Christmas, of course, widely, but also celebrated as Newtonmas, because Sir Isaac Newton was also born on the 25th of December.
I thought you were going with Good Governance Day, but okay.
But so it's now become like a thing where atheists and those who believe in science are celebrating Newtonmas instead of Christmas, because it's almost like a demonstration against religion. So Christmas, therefore, is reclaimed in some ways as Newtonmas, and the day is celebrated by atheists who exchange research papers with each other.
It's kind of ironic because Newton was quite a loony himself.
He was spectacularly loony. He was like, for a large part of his life, he was an alchemist. He was a practicing alchemist.
So I would rather celebrate Christmas than anyway, that's another story for another day. Awesome. Thank you.
So that's that for about birthday.
I feel like I got like a simplified episode as a gift.
What a fun episode.
Don't expect it every year, okay?
I don't expect. We should make sure that we record on. Let's just hope that Naren or Tony's next birthdays fall on a Saturday. In fact, 23rd April 2022 is a Sunday. Is a Saturday. So perfect. So
you realize I'll be extremely hungover. We can just have to stand still. I'll have to go through podcast recording.
Fair enough. All right. So
that's that. So Naren, do you want to sign us off?
Yes, let's sign off by saying stay safe. Stay birthed. I'm going to say stay birthed and stay simplified.
It seems like a perpetual state of being born.
All right. See you guys.
Okay.
Bye. See you next week. Bye.
Awesome.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Paisa Vaisa with Anupan Atul Shingal, founder and CEO of Scriptbox, shares financial advice best suited for 25-year-olds. Our War and Culture podcast, Yuddha, is back with Season 2. Check out the first episode where Anirudh and Aditya take us back to the turbulent times of ruthless warlord Timur and his descendant Babur. Also, check out what Gautam Buddha did in the final hours of his life on Echoes of India with Anirudh. Chuck, Tony, Naren, and Srikeit break down the intriguing concept of a metaverse on Simblified. Need some help dealing with breakups? Tune in to the Say No to Drama feed and find out the alternative word Chetna has for heartbreak. And on Khel Niti, Rajesh, Rajkumar Sharma and Ayaz Menon analyze the lineup of the third test match between India and England. Do follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show or any of our shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to spread the word about a podcast. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week: Siet Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Colbert, and Intuit India. We really do appreciate the support. You are what makes this possible.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy. If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.